Hello everyone. I don't know who ever heard about the term AI safety as a raise of hand. Okay, few people, right. So the value that I can bring to this talk is that recently, actually last week, I was in London. Thank you. I was in London in a conference where there is a bunch of research on AI safety. I've got pretty involved in different opportunities. So I'll give you an introduction, and then I want to show you all the opportunities possible and available. And feel free to connect with me anytime to help in your career eventually, also career change or career development in these fields. So I would like to tell you, don't panic. Is everything all right? We can build these huge AI experiments. We can even go to Mars with something that is developed by an AI, super AI. But unfortunately, the reality is not like that. There is some researchers say from 5 to 10% to even more and more that AI safety is going to become a great field because the risk of AI is now underlined as existential risk. If you ever know about Bostrom was a researcher that created this grid in order to understand what is an existential risk. And in few words, is a risk for humanity. So it became quite important to put some interest in the fields. There is few researchers and developers that change career, but we still need a lot of resources. So what I say for now is panic just enough, okay? I'm Stefania Delprete. You can find me in Astra Stefania almost everywhere. I usually talk a lot about these things. Effective altruism is how to be impactful in your career, and I can tell you more about that later. Mozilla was a data scientist with working a lot with internet data. Consciousness. Usually I talk a lot about consciousness, the fact that I'm vegan and eyesight, but in particular for this conference, I talk a lot also about knees. It seems that I get injured for my knees, and it seems a lot of people have knee injuries, so please take care, just in case. So let's start with the good, okay? We started a few years ago with amazing results. There is this wonderful article in 2017 about machine learning and deep learning algorithm that reached the level of dermatologists in find out different melanoma. There's a huge improvement in what we can do in research. It started to be more interesting to have these kind of tools to be able to have a support for the diagnosis. Then we have all this wave of AlphaGo, AlphaZero, AlphaFold. So this was the real match between the master of Go, this incredible game, and here is one of the in 2021 one of the Leicester research paper about the use of AlphaFold for the folding of the different molecules and the proteins, and so this seems amazing results. The fact is that we expect this kind of results 5 years from now, or even more. It wasn't expected to have this kind of results right at the beginning of this development. So what we can start to learn from this is that our estimation, probably we tend to estimate something far in the future than closer to our present. So taking in mind that, we have to remind that something good happened, but also something bad happened. For example, all the cases for goal misgeneralization. Here's a little example. You can find more example here in this paper. In this example, the neural networks were trained to go from the labyrinth to reach the exit. And all the red points were apples, so they have to collect the apples and then go to the exit. And it seems pretty good. They trained with thousands of labyrinths like that with different proportions. Until one moment, they just changed the colors with the exit and with the apples. And the labyrinth, the machine started to go directly to what is now a green apple and just stay there. And find, for people that know reward system, a way to stay reward system at that point and never go out. So this is very different with the goal that we had in mind in our project. And think about that for a sort of emergency, like a fire alarm. We need to go out, and then something is different in the building and is actually getting stuck in one point. There could be many examples of that. And then also the ugly. This is a quite recent paper by ARC evaluating ChatGPT-4. And this is kind to go in the direction of AI safety. So evaluation of the models before they go in production. And this was a chat that basically there was a conversation, like a simulated conversation, where ChatGPT-4 basically asked for a sort of micro task in order to do not click I'm not a robot, to ask someone else to do that and reply, yeah, you have to do that because I'm a human, but I have problem with my vision, so if you can please do it. So it seems pretty scary and ugly. So we saw the good, the bad, and the ugly. And there is so many others example of that. Victoria Krakovna is one of my mentor and hero. She's a developer in DeepMind. She's the founder of the Future of Life Institute. In this presentation, you can see a lot of other examples. She's actually collecting all the goals disalignment, if you want, and all the other problems. In that links, you can see all the different talks that has been done in the past, and the recent one is the one that I mentioned from the past week. So what we can do? I recently injured my finger and my knee. And what I saw is that sometimes all you need is slowing down. A lot of researchers start to write this paper collectively as a letter. This starts from Future of Life Institute I mentioned before. When I come here, the number was 25,000. Now, also OpenAI, have a slide later, is coming on board to the fact that they recognize the problem with, we're talking about big AI experiments, could lead to malicious behavior. And so just in these days, it's grown up from 25 to 31,000. And we have, you can see here, you have all the founders of the major AI company all over the world. DeepMind is on board as well. OpenAI, you can see different research projects of that. If you want to sign, I actually signed after thinking about that. One thing is that in the talk, I want to inspire, to spark conversation, and I want to put you in self-belief. I want you to give a resource to think by yourself and then decide as a researcher or eventually have a conversation inside your workplace or your institution. This is the statement by OpenAI that it started to go in this direction as well and recognize as an existential risk, what we talked about before. So the concern is pretty real. What we can do with that? I like to give people action to go forward. An amazing curriculum by Cambridge. We actually facilitated one of the reading groups for the first one, AI Alignment 101. This is basically a collection of articles divided by the different topics. There's also some section for machine learning beginners or machine learning experts. You can see now in their website, but we're happy to coadjuvate these readings. It's all open. You don't need to sign to see the materials. There's an advanced module for AI Alignment 202. And in June, we're going to run the AI government part. So I will talk a little bit later about that, but it is more related to AI policy, AI and policy making. So if you're interested, please ping us. When I said us, at the moment, I'm managing the group for effective altruism in Italy and a group for effective altruism as a data scientist. Effective altruism is this moment that I mentioned before about maximizing the action that we can do through our career, our studies, our donation even. But here, more concerned about research and how to know more about these fields and help people get in career in these fields. And lastly, so if you want, this is for June. And lastly, AJ Safety Talks are a series of talks and a collection of talks that is very up to date. So if you want to know the expert in the fields, and I'm talking really about the expert in the fields, it was estimated that last year there was like 300 people. And you can think about in all the world how many AI, machine learning, deep learning developers are right now. Like 400 or even 1,000 are a really a small number. We need more people taking care about these issues. Another amazing course is machine learning safety. And in this case, you can also see different projects in Python. Actually, in this, there is an extra module at the end. This is not mandatory, that you can create a project collectively with other people. And but in here, you can really see directly notebook, Jupyter Notebook. Some of them are, for example, for interpretation, mechanistic interpretations. Is divided in these 4 modules. Especially the first part is more the mechanistic part, if you want, about the robustness of the models, but also to prevent malicious behavior. So how you can do that? In a way, you can, at the beginning, you can also try to find out what could be something that goes wrong. But at the end, we need a little bit of interpretation of the model. And so there is different techniques that can be used to understand that. Alignment is also connected with the goal misgeneralizations. And so how we can align our goals with the goals that AI can have. There is a mind game exercise about a maximizer. They want to produce pin. They want to produce little pins that you put clips for the papers. And he has this goal in mind. And he starts to continue to do that, transforming everything in some little clippers. Of course, we don't want to be converting a clipper. It's a mind experiment. But you can see if something without control can really go way beyond. And in the evaluation of ARC that I showed before, it was also mentioning the one about evaluating ChatGPT-4. He started thinking about the notion that it's getting very good and convincing in writing letters, that also this could be used for threats, also giving more power in terms of coding that are not evaluated and then go to production. So it seems to become pretty vicious. And for the last part, I mentioned a little bit before, systemic safety. Most of the times you talk about governments and also what we can do collectively also in public decision making for the policy. And I want to mention this. Training for Good is an amazing team that actually came out as one of the most effective charities, new charities about training people for impactful careers. In the beginning of April, also take a step to show the difference in impact between being a policymakers in our own country or being a policymakers in Brussels as a European law. We saw that OpenAI, thinking about leaving Europe, now is starting to think that this is a global issue. But of course, there is Europe, there is United States. For example, if someone wants to go more there, Open Philanthropy is another nonprofit that is based in US and do policy, especially there. This course is running, so there will be another opening for that. They're based in Brussels, and usually these courses are basically partially online and partially in Brussels. So you'll be there directly with them. They don't do only policy for touch, but also, for example, global health. And they're really an amazing team. Are really connected with the European Commission, if you want to go in that direction. And let me tell you, because I was working as a data scientist in the side of the open data and technology with some policymakers, they are really ask us as a technologist to give a hand with them, because sometimes policymakers don't have the technical background and experience that we have. So even if you don't want to go straight be a core researcher of optimization algorithm, but you want to give a hand to the policymakers, please do. There is much need for that. In Europe, I'll tell you later, going outside of Europe, there is this course, live, MLab. It's quite well known from people that do AI safety because it's quite challenging to go there, to apply for that. This is based in Red Research, one of the most amazing research centers that I saw. They're very cool, also spaces. They have this wonderful statue with all the Nobel Prizes in Berkeley and San Francisco area. And in there, last year in Berlin, we have a sort of hacker house with all the different people that creating courses for AI safety. And they have also a test that is a quick test for Python, and they reward the people that are quicker in writing code. And if you get in, let me know. I want to know you. And but I want to try to do a bootcamp of AI safety in Italy too. So anyone that want to give a hand, please let me know. For now, we have our friends from France that are doing a shorter version of the MLab. So they get in contact with the MLab developers as well. This is happening in August. The application is still open. They told me that they still have a few spaces less. It will be close to Paris for the first 10 days of August, more or less. And there will be some lectures about AI safety, connection with the mentors of that, and some project could be done. Especially the curriculum is highly in mechanistic interpretability, so basically how we can interpret the data sets. So anyone that, there will be also a review on deep learning. So anyone that wants to have some background in deep learning, even just started, can eventually apply. They say it would be great if you know everything about deep learning as well. But if you don't be an obstacle. So be ambitious and apply if you want to go in this direction. There is a lot of things going on. It is an amazing result, AISafety.training. They also have competition because you know, who is not attracted to something with gamification? We try all to bring the most, the best and the most interested people in. So in this, you can see all the deadline going on. In the other part of the website, you see what is going on right now as a course. So this is pretty cool to know. And then, of course, I wish you all to apply and get in this program. Another interesting view, because the space is getting bigger, luckily. This is a dynamic maps. If you go here, you can like click one. There is Anthropic, DeepMind, OpenAI in the research field, ARC that we mentioned before, Future of Life Institute that you get. I'm a fan. And here there is all the other researcher. Rob Myers is a great YouTuber that is doing also technical tutorials about interpretability, and here is a great map. I mentioned also open philanthropy. If you're interested, perhaps you're a student here is a very international conference, and perhaps you need some funding needed to perhaps apply to a PhD or continue research. Please let me know. I'm happy to let you know if there is any grant available for people all over the world to apply, if they're very, very inspired and want to continue with this research. Of course, it's not for everyone. They have a tight schedule in offering that, but there is some opportunity going on here and there. So for the people that are in here, but perhaps get inspired, but still want to have more materials and love to read, we say we need a pause. So have a tea, have a pause, drink, read a book. Effective Altruism have this resource center with books. You can have a book for free. So all these are for free. Like you can book, please, perhaps if you want all of them, is you, for your cousin, your mother, and there are more of that, but I just link up to the more related to this topic. The alignment problem, human compatibility. The precipice is around long-termism in general. Actually, in that conference, there was office hours by Toby Orb. It's amazing. He's another great head that is leading us for being more rational and really think what are the problems ahead. And talking about careers, and we all sometimes we need to have, again, a sort of pause and reflect on our values, the impact that we want to bring, the technology and the resources that we already had. 80,000 hours allow us to be in this process and then guide us to do a particular choice. In particular, 80,000 hours, it was one of the first projects in this community, and it has a lot of different career profile, and especially there's also one about AI safety technical research. You can go there, you can read more about the why is important now, and also some more resources. There is also, I don't know if I mentioned or not, okay, there is also a job board in 80,000 hours of all the available positions right now in Anthropic, eventually also OpenAI, DeepMind. We know these are ambitious roles, but you need to apply, okay? If all of us think that it's too ambitious that we can, then nobody is going to apply to this job. So please, if you have a slight idea and you need more emotional support even, let us know. We're happy to push you to apply, if you want, of course. Here in Italy, we have an event tomorrow, if I'm alive. There was a very intense PyCon. So tomorrow at 7, if I'm not wrong, yes, 7 p.m. in this nice place in Florence. There is a sort of aperitif that we can talk about eventually effective altruism, AI safety, and everything that comes to your mind. So feel free, if you're here, to come along. On the top is also put some more events that we do. The structure of this event will be to have an introduction of the topic, and then usually we ask people to write on Post-it the more interesting things they want to deepen as a topic, and then we do a roundtable to talk about this and offer all the resources possible. Right, I forgot about this already. Okay, so I had to take a big breath before these slides. This the one before the last one. I can do that, or maybe not. So this talk is in memory of my grandma. She passed away last year when I was here at PyCon. She was surrounded by lovely people. I was lucky enough to be surrounded by lovely people. And I want all of you to have a wonderful life and a very long life. I don't want you to be destroyed by the AI. So let's work together, live long and prosper. These are my contacts. Feel free to connect me and talk about an initiative that you saw before. Thank you.
Thank you, Stefania. So today in this room, we have a lot of talks where people put their heart in the talk. Thank you for that. There are very many questions for you. You ready? I'm ready. All right. Okay. Try to use a mic, though.
Maybe it's a good idea.
Yeah, okay. Why would one sign petition to stop AI from growing? Our goal as a humanity should be advancing as quick and as big as possible to do more and help more.
I do agree totally with this question. Let's think back, and I really want you to read the materials and decide by yourself. For what I saw and what I read is critical right now for the presentative wave in front. Take care that this pose is mentioned to be an underline for huge AI projects. That could be malicious and leads to malicious activity that could lead even to, don't want to get political, but we have some issue going on, and if this doesn't go out of power, it's a problem. We will continue to work to see the improvement of machine learning for healthcare, etc. I had actually, just before this morning, there was a talk about interpretation of models in health, and how they start to use AI safety as a control metric to support AI research in that. So design is for this huge kind of project that we'll never are possibly able to do by ourselves. So our project, we need to continue to grow. If we are all that, we can do that. So let's just preserve what we want, and let's continue to grow in this direction.
Thank you. Okay, next question is, do you have any advice for testers how to test AI safety or AI in general?
Yes, that's a great question. So for what I saw, it's possible. There was also referring another talk that was talking about that. Usually what you do, especially with the idea that I had in mind, are more related to mechanistic in interpretability, and I can give more resource to anyone that told me, ping me, I can give you some resources. And there is also a page with 200 problems that now we have to face on AI, and I saw one of them that was also used in testing. So please, whoever asked the question or want to point finger, write me, and I will give you more resource on that.
That's great, thank you. How do you comment the great difficulty of solving the prompt injection issues, especially around authorizing tooling?
I'm not sure I understand
this
question.
Read it?
Probably I passed this one. If you can drop me an email, I could be more extensive. I think we'll need a one-on-one conversation to go through that.
It's not very clear, yeah. Okay, let me see. We know that there are multiple dangerous parts of quick growing AI, but wouldn't it help just cutting out public from accessing it?
Well, it's not only to get online, it's the use that we do that. It could be also deployed in a conservative system, but then if we don't control the output, that could lead to wrong prediction, for example, wrong labeling. We saw different behavior that could be in a closed space. I hope it's not go through on internet, of course, because that's a way bigger problem. Even it depends also on your browser, but that's another for another talk. So yes, dangerous also for local services.
Okay. Many AI experts, leaders have said that there should not be any regulation until there is a significant harm. This shows a lot of resistance. What is your opinion?
So my opinion is that we need to have conversation on this. And the conversation needs to be open and public with data in our hands. And we need this discussion. The OpenAI statement was really recent. Like in these days, there was a letter from different, not only OpenAI, DeepMind, etc., that start to be more and more worried about that. So I think it needs to be information about this and reading more and more, and see then how to do that. In terms of policy, US and Europe are not going in at the same pace. There is, for example, some people in Future Life Institute and other research that have a word on the EU AI Act that is going quite stable right now. So we need more discussion about this, but in my opinion, we need to move quickly.
Okay, I have time only for one more question. Okay, what do you have in mind for the AI Safety Bootcamp in Italy? What kind of help are you looking for?
Well, that's a great question. Thank you for everyone who asked that. I have a past background in leading workshops, actually with topics, one of them. That was a big dive doing data science, machine learning, deep learning. My idea is to do a similar one, connected with university. For example, I know a person that had doing PhD similar in Ancona. We have some resources in Turin. The one that I mentioned is connected with the École Normale in Paris. And so my idea is to go there, see their project, 10 days. I will test for you. I hope maybe someone else will apply to test with me if it's feasible or if we need more days. The help that I need is a researcher that want to come to see this project happening. Eventually also some university that want to get along, perhaps also open a space for 1 hour for a talk from an expert in particular fields. It could be also linked to a particular topic. So if it's computer vision or adversarial neural networks, or I pronounce it wrong. And yeah, so have more people get interested and spark more discussion.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Stefania.
Thank you, everyone.